It's right in your face, isn't it? But
clean those ear canals out. Welcome back to Andertons TV. Mr. Pete.
Mr. Lee.
And Mr. Lee, yes.
Hello.
So, today's video is looking at a couple of products from Fryette.
From the fire
yes.
into the Fryette pan.
Now, these aren't new products, but they're new for Andertons. And do you know what? I think Fryette is probably... There's only like one or two brands over the last 4 or 5 years that I've really, really wanted to stock. Not even necessarily because I think there's tons and tons of sales,
right? Just
because I think it's such a great product.
It is
such a great solution.
Yeah.
And Fryette's one of them, but they're small, right? And their argument has always been, look, we just don't make enough to service more than one retailer in the UK. And I'm like, please, 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 please. Anyway, the good news was at NAMM this year, I finally convinced them that Andertons would be a good partner for them. And we got power stations. You'll see over the next 2 or 3 months, we'll go through the range, right? So I'm really excited to look at the valvulator.
There's amplifiers. You know what I'm really excited about, Lee? That's the thing that I'm most excited about trying at some point, is their cap amp and head and cap switcher.
Yeah.
With the impedance and the ohms and the effects loop and all that stuff, because I've been looking at a really good one for home. Perfect. So I might jump on one of those at some point.
I guess what most people will know Fryette for, though, are the power stations. Come in 2 varieties, a single channel 50 watt and a 2-channel 100 watt. They're kind of the same basic, you know, if you look at the ins and outs on the back and the switches and the point of them is kind of the same. Yeah. So we're probably just going to use the top one for most of this demo. But if you don't need the idea of, you know, if you don't need the 100 watts, you don't need the ability to switch between 2 settings, then obviously the one underneath will be fine. You can save yourself a few hundred quid as well.
That's foot switchable as well, right? Foot switchable.
The top one, yeah, absolutely. The idea of load boxes and attenuators is not new. We've got the Iron Man 2 we've used over there a lot. We've got the Aux box we've used a lot. We've got there the tube amp expander from Boss. We've used that a lot. But where the Fryette is unique, it's the only one, as far as I'm aware, that pairs a reactive load box to drop the amp signal down to, you know, effectively a line level, but then that feeds it into its own valve amplifier.
Exactly. What is the tube amp expander has got a class D, right?
That's right. So tube amp expander is probably the most similar product, but with a solid state output. Right. So this, obviously, you've got 2 things here, and we're going to try and demonstrate multiple ways of using this. Well, actually, not just 2 or 3 different things. So you could have a really loud amplifier like this JTM 45 here,
which you heard in the beginning.
You might want,
fantastic.
You might want to use the power station to tame it. I don't know. You could have a quieter amplifier, not that that's necessarily quiet. This is an AC15 that you could run into this and then effectively make it 100 watts, so you could make it louder. The other thing which I'm pleased to see is a lot of digital players, you know, and we're going to use a QC, but this could be anything digital on the floor, who want to hear this on stage through a valve setup. We'll use a power station, so you just line level into here. That bit, you're not using the reactive load element of it, then you're just literally using the power amp section of it. Other things that are nice, neither this Marshall nor this Vox have an effects loop in it. So of course, if you wanted to put effects post the sort of, you know, the preamp and power amp section, you can do it now by using the effects loop in the power station. So look, that's the concept. I kind of feel like it's a pretty straightforward concept. There's no, although there are line outputs on this, we're not going anywhere near the realms of IRs or whatever. So if you wanted to use this as part of a solution where you could send a signal to front of house, you'd have to use the line output from here into an IR loader and then beyond. So that may not be, that may be where things like Aux and tube amp expander or whatever have a different use case to this. What you heard in that first bit was just the amp. We're hitting easily 100 decibels. We're not even, we've got the treble channel on 12, and we've got the 12 o'clock, that is, and the normal channel at 9 o'clock, and it's loud.
And it's so instantaneous, but that's the amp, it's such an incredible amp.
mean, we can add gain either with a pedal, but I guess what most people will want to do with something like this, I mean, I don't even know if we can do this here. This is where the power station comes in, right? If I really want to drive this amp, I've just got to turn it up, and it gets silly loud.
And that's it, and it's silly loud, absolutely.
So, okay, quick cut, and we will now plug the power station. So all we're doing is taking the speaker output from this into the power station, adding the effects loop, and then the speaker is attached again to the power station. Here we go!
Hooray! Yeah, I listened to Bruno Mars. I was at Bruno Mars show, and now there's so many chords all of a sudden that's coming in my head anyway.
So we haven't touched anything on the amp, but obviously we have added some ambient effects through the effects loop.
Effect loop.
We've immediately dropped about 20 decibels in the room, which is enormous. Obviously, this is the bit I guess on YouTube, because however loud it is in here, we're kind of compensating for that on the mixer. So you may hear things sounding the same, but hopefully you can see the little red counter over Pete's shoulder. But we were hitting about 100 dB straight into the amp, hitting about 75 to 80 dB like this.
It's massive.
But what we haven't lost, which I sometimes find if you're using like a tube amp expander or whatever, we haven't lost any valve warmth, right?
No, the warmth is still there.
You're still hearing this speaker being driven by a valve amplifier. Just
I would say it's, when you play it, it's a different feel. Maybe that's because of the power section in the power station versus the power within the amp. That is very instantaneous, but that's also because of a volume thing. As soon as you touch it, like oh, you know, with this kind of
slap it.
It's there when I turn all the effects up.
Yeah.
No, it is there, but it's more forgiving. Does that make sense?
100%.
When it's not as loud.
Players,
which is a good thing.
Really good players that use, 100-watt plexis or whatever, will actually say they like that whap as the sound goes. Players who are perhaps a level down or that, it's that instantaneous thing that exposes you in a way, and that's where you start using pedals and compressors and things to try and sort of give you that. And I would agree that's the big. Well, it's not even a big difference. That's the minor difference I'm hearing as soon as we've added the power station to this. It's just made it a little bit more. It's put a little blanket.
It's
around
more forgiving, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where it is so scary to play one of those amps on full whack, man. Because anything you play just comes out.
Which I think for like 98% of players is a positive, but there might be like 2% of players going, no, I need that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're coming from something like that, that'll be interesting to see, because that's when it becomes.
So let's just focus on what the knobs, and it won't take very long here, and we'll give you some pans of what's on the back of these.
I'll put a bit of reverb on now, because I can, from my Flint. I can even put a 60s.
It's so nice to hear.
It's great because it doesn't, when it's not going in the front, I don't mind it going in the front end, but these it's not as good to take it as.
Well, here's the problem. If you put reverb in the front of this amplifier and it's relatively clean, it's okay.
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
Exactly. As soon as you gain it up, you're flipped.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say as well, you're actually hearing two valve power amplifiers here, aren't you? Because we are hearing the valve power amplifier in the Marshall going into the reactive load, drop down to a line level, and then another valve power amplifier here. But anyway, so look, if I go to this sort of classic territory of where I'm gaining both channels up sort of 3/4 of the way, now all the distortion is coming from the amplifier.
Let's reverb.
We could go quieter with that if you wanted, like almost like a home use solution. Ooh.
And I am playing a Strat here just so.
Do you find? I sometimes find the more you attenuate, the more top end you lose. But I'm interested to see whether we can dial a bit of that back in with these brightness.
And it's slightly muddy there from that, because that's what happens as well when you've cranked that all the way up. It tends to get a little bit muddy. Oh man!
I think this brightness switch
I
just
love
engaged
guitar,
one
I can't
step.
tell you. I just love it.
And then the presence a little bit up just brings back some of that treble loss.
This is the chord I was playing. I've played it before, but like this chord, it's like being my. Over the weekend, I was just noodling along. This is so good, right? This is so good because you can get all of this lovely, beautiful.
Please, can we hear the Les Paul into this? Because this is sort of, I guess, sort of Beano territory, isn't it? Of just like blues breaker territory, where Clapton would have had a boost pedal into his Marshall amplifier, and that's it, and it would have been lunatically.
Oh man.
That was more Ingwe than Eric.
Yeah. Eric-y.
So if we'd have just tried to do that straight into the amplifier, A, we'd have had no reverb, and B, it would have been minimum 20, 25 dB louder than that, which is lunatic, right?
How quiet does it go when you were there with that kind of sound? Mind you, there's no pedals. We just used the only pedal that's in the effects loop is the reverb from the Flint.
I actually think even at that volume, it still sounds better than anything if you had a solid state solution.
100%.
Anywho,
awesome. That's great.
Let's switch over to the Vox, because I sort of feel like that's. Oh, actually, sorry. Let's just do that one last, just to show. I can either do this with a foot switch or with this button, but the idea of the Dira one, the PS100, is I can switch to this second channel, and it's not stereo or anything like that. It's essentially it's just like a mono amplifier with two settings.
Right.
These bright and warmth things are like global, but so you just have a separate volume, presence, and depth here. So I guess So literally like having, I guess, like just a solo channel and a rhythm channel or something like that. On the PS2, you can't do that. Obviously, you've just got one channel. That's it.
But if you have to buy one for each amp anyway you have, then you might as well buy the two of these or three of these.
The artist roster for Fryette is insane.
Oh yeah.
It's like you see it in pro touring solutions all the time. Anyway, look, that's Marshall finished. Let's switch over to the Vox. Before we move on, we've just discovered what we think is a feature, which is that this operate bypass switch here, you do have to be a bit careful here, because I was assuming this worked like a standby thing, but seemingly what it's doing is it's actually bypassing the power station element. And so by switching this into bypass mode while this is still on, what you're effectively hearing is the amp straight into the speaker cabinet, which actually isn't a bad way of demonstrating this. I assume we're going to clip the jahibas out of the desk.
It'll be fine.
Let's see Here's our attenuated sound. Here's our not attenuated sound.
Woo!
That's a big difference.
It sounds so good though, doesn't it?
If only we'd known that at the beginning of this demonstration, we could have just shown you how that worked. Anyway, there you go. RTFM, right? Let's go!
RTFM?
Read the manual.
Oh!
I don't think there's much left to tell you. We're just going to show you. Here's the AC15.
It is so good, this amp.
We've put the master. This is actually one of the new hand-wired ones, so it's got some features that wouldn't be on an original one. But we've got the master volume cranked, and we're in the top boost channel.
In the low inputs.
Yeah, with everything set to. Are we going high now? With everything set to about 2 o'clock.
I've rolled back the volume here on it.
So here's the unattenuated sound.
But how good does this thing roll back, bro?
Yeah, so what is even on a 15 watt amplifier, we're still triggering well over 100 dB here. So,
but there's no reverb.
Well, there is actually on the hand-wired one, isn't there? But on a vintage one, there wouldn't be.
Yeah.
So if we now engage the Fryette, we can add some reverb, have a lower volume.
Call the rising sun. Play out tune. This is such a good amp, man.
Can I just say as well, referring back to the title of the video, this is the amp that makes
all of this
better.
Exactly.
You take a really great amplifier and you add one of these to it, and it's just like, oh, an extra layer of versatility.
More tubes.
More tubes, man. It is, and I think because I used this the 30 watt one, and it sounded great. But it's just the fact that you can control it. It feels more controllable now with this as well somehow.
Interesting. Can you play Tie Your Mother Down?
Huh?
Can you play Tie Your Mother Down?
I did last night. What are you talking about? Now turn it down so you get the same sound but a lower volume. But we are running this through that cab now, right, as well?
Yeah,
so,
there are very few, if any. In fact, this might be the first one, and this might be why the Fryette stuff is so popular, where I'm genuinely not going, it's a bit worse when I've turned it down.
Exactly. It hasn't colored the sound at all, and the aux does that. The Iron Man perhaps not is the least coloring sound of all of it.
Yeah.
This one just doesn't.
I think the problem with Iron Man is the more you attenuate, the worse.
You just take low. You take
Whereas
stuff away.
This just seems to be doesn't seem to. Anyway, I don't know. I might just be believing all the hype, but I think that sounds great. What a great. I mean, look, these amps are so good. These amps are all like 50, 60 years old, and they just sound monster.
And it's impossible to get that kind of sound out of these amps at low volume. Absolutely impossible.
100%.
It's just impossible. It has to be cranked.
Yeah.
It has to be cranked. But the thing is, when it's loud, it is good. It hits my heart somewhere on my sack, like in the right way. And that's a good guitar, isn't it?
It is a great guitar. Okay, so there's just one more thing to do, which is like if you've got a QC or something like that.
Let's end on a high, shall we?
Right, have the amp, the guitar even. I've got a JTM 45 amp here. I'll try and find an AC15 one. I've switched everything off on the QC other than the amp model. So there's no speaker model. There's no the effect essentially will still come from Pete's pedal board.
It should give it tubes, right? But it doesn't. It's not giving it double tubes.
Yeah. So you're not hearing
the double D. That is. It's not though.
You're not hearing the any kind of emulated output from the QC. You're just hearing this. I don't think what I've done here is, you know, how I would expect you to use this. I would expect you to go with your quad Cortex with all the emulation, everything, give the sound man his 2 feeds, and then just for what you want to hear on stage, have a separate output, turn the emulation off, plug it into the power station. We're just using the bottom one for this one just to show
and then have a cab
thing. And a cab for you to hear it.
Stage.
Bit like going into the effects return now of a valve amplifier of some sort to hear on stage. Anyway, here is our JTM 45.
I mean, it's never been a real amp, but
I agree.
It's good. There's something.
I think if you.
But you have to take that thing away from it. This is a user thing. You use on tour, use out when you got in ears and all that different stuff. It sounds great for that. If it's just a little bit of stuff.
Yeah, for me, the best sound that you can get from any digital modeling thing is absolutely like the in the room. I'm not talking about a recorded sound or a front of house sound. I'm just talking about an in the room sound. Is straight into a valve amplifier and a normal speaker.
It changes the feel. It changes the way you.
It does sound good. I still think you can kind of.
Anyway,
I think
just love playing
if you're a professional touring guitar player as well, you can get all your rack mount kits for the Power Station and stuff like that. All right, and then lastly, I haven't managed to find an AC15 thing, but we found an AC30, which is, you know, the closest thing. So here we go, same thing, everything switched off apart from the amp model.
Your riffs, play your Queen riffs on that. Let's see.
So if you want to find out more about the Fryette Power Stations, you can follow the links below. They're in stock at Andertons.
That's
like
great,
I said, just choose whether you want the 50 watt 1 channel or the 100 watt 2 channel. They're basically both doing the same thing, but let's see what you're doing.